course, we have to do a coastal tree. And you may even want to do one up in Nantucket or somewhere way up there. You still have water up there, so you might enjoy the coastal tree wherever you might be living. Now, when I start my tree, again, let me reiterate, I start with the topper. That's not the last thing I do, but the first thing I do. And when you're starting with a topper like this, you're going to start down about 8 to 12 inches into the tree with your first set of pieces to go in, because that will serve as an anchor for what you're going to build up on top. And so you start here and you work your way up, and if you'll notice, I have balls all the way up to the top. I've used a lot of different, I've used I guess 3 or 4 different picks in this topper, because I have to have that coral look. I have to have that look of the underwater on the top of this tree. And buried right up in there, there's my flamingo. And because I enjoy doing novelty things and trying to create ideas for you, let's take our little flamingo, and as my next step, that's my big piece. I'm going to put this little guy right in the tree, and then I'm going to work around him as I set my other ornaments into the tree. So this is a coastal look, and we have certainly gotten some of the most beautiful fish, turtles, and Florida ornaments that you could possibly find. And one of the things that I've enjoyed using on the tree are my bubbles. You see these little bubbles going all the way through the tree? Now, on that, for this case, I put those on after I put on my flamingos. I started that because it's a big part of this tree and actually serves as an ornament and not just a garland. I find that when I talk to a lot of my customers, their biggest hang-up or problem is running a garland and how to decorate it. So I want to make sure you see how we did this little coastal effect right here. Now this is a single 9-foot long lighted mixed green garland, and so it's very, very full. And all I had to do was take some strong nails. Don't use the little weeny ones, but give yourself some strength with the nail and go into that into the trim around the door, or perhaps into the wall, but more into that trim, because now you're into the wood and you know it's going to be secure. Then you run your garland, and now on this one I have a cord coming down, but you can't see it because I will tuck it into the board itself, into the trim. And I'm going to start by running my garland, and again I'm going to use the bubbles. Look how great that is. And so they run all the way through this garland, and I've even allowed them to trickle down beyond the garland itself so that I can continue the decoration. And it doesn't have to stop where the greenery is, but I can bring it down and accentuate what I'm going to be showing off in my garland. So then I start with my, again, I'm going to use sprays and picks into this to make it look just like the ocean. And so there we have our coral coming down, and then I start with my ornaments. Now a lot of these ornaments are just sitting right up on top. They're not all attached. So, and some of these ornaments that are not so frail, like the ones up here with the sequins, those are just styrofoam balls. So I'm not worried about them falling or breaking if they should happen to come down. But this garland, and with the accentuation of using the longer pieces at the tips and at the base of this, but also running them across, watch out for the tall men who come through, but a few pieces can hang down. It looks more realistic, and it does look like we're at the ocean. I want to point out to you the ornament that I use that's what I call the common denominator on this tree. If I didn't use something very basic, and in this case I've got the snowball, I've got the red basic ball, but I've also got this ornament, and I just want you to know that no ornament is necessarily a designated ornament, because these same balls I used on my coastal tree. So I was able to cross over, eliminating the fish and the flamingos, but I was able to incorporate it into my Russian tree, and that makes those ornaments pop out even more. Now, something else on this tree, I always am going to point out my toppers to you. And in this case, I use the aqua feathers to work into the aqua teal colors that I use. And all the way up to the top, I've got ball ornaments all the way up there. But the one fun thing I use, because this is Russian, I use the Jingle Bell spray on here. And it's covered with snow, and just in case you can feel yourself in Russia riding through Dr. Shivalgo into the snow and all, you're going to feel those bells ringing, hear those bells ringing. But I also bring a lot of my toppers down into the tree. So when the tree is basically finished and I see holes in the tree, that's when I'll take out my sprays and I'll plug them into the tree and bring them all the way down. This has such a natural fall on it. It just looks so real. It looks like I've got a real pine up in the tree, and it just brings out what I've done in the topper all the way down to the bottom of my tree.